All right, here we go. So take a look at your warm-up. Go ahead and read it to yourself. We're going to the store, we're buying apples and oranges. I'm telling you how much they cost. I want an expression. And I'm telling you to use X and Y. So what do you think? What's your expression going to be? Is that okay if we do 0.99? Yep. Is that an expression? Awesome. That's it. Okay. If I tell you I want to buy 2.5 pounds of apples and 8 pounds of oranges, how much do I need to make sure I need to take with me? I'm going to buy 2.5 pounds of apples and 8 pounds of oranges. What are you doing with those numbers? Plugging them in for the variables. So what should you be typing into your calculator? Good. How many pounds of oranges? 8. All right, guys, how much would that be? Yeah, I think it says 12.795, but it's got to be 80 cents because you know that money only is 2 decimal points. Questions on that first warm-up? Okay, second part of our warm-up today is going to get us ready for what we're going to do in the rest of our notes. I want you to solve those. What variable do you see in letter A? They're only p's, right? You see how there's p's on both sides? So what are you going to do? You're going to move them over. Which one are you going to move over? Yeah, this one is lowest. You guys agree that the negative one is automatically lower than the positive one, right? So we're going to add this guy over. Only underneath the p's. Can you tell me what that new equation would be? Is everybody following Savannah there? Okay. Now, how do I isolate the p? Awesome. So I have 3.18p is equal to? Awesome. Did you say 72? 12.72? Okay. One more step. Make sure when you divide it in the correct order. The number on top must go in first. Got a number for me? Ooh, that worked out nice. Very nice. I would have thought with all those decimals, that would have been a funky decimal answer. It's pretty good. All right, letter B. What variable do you see in letter B? And they're all D's, right? That's the only letter you have in that problem? So what are you going to do? Okay, distribute. Notice the 2D will stay out front. We're going to distribute the 6. What do you get when you distribute the 6? Good. Make sure you do have a 6D minus 6. Don't forget to distribute to that negative 1 as well. Yeah, these guys over here are on the same side together, aren't they? That means they just go together. What does that give you? 8D minus 6 equals 18. I'm pretty sure you can solve from there. Go ahead. He got 2. Oh, she got 3. 3. Did you add the 6 over, Brayden? You didn't add it over? Okay, so that should give me what, 24? Divide by 8, and that's how you all are getting 3? Questions for me? Oh, at the beginning? So make sure we put the 2D and the 6D together to make 8D. All right, so tell me. Help me fill in these blanks. In order to solve a linear equation, you must blank the variable. No? How did we solve? What did we do here? You isolate the variable. And how do we do that? Reverse could fit in there. Opposite could fit in there. The mathy term is inverse operations, and that just means opposite. So when you saw that -4 up there, you added 4. When you see multiplying by 8, you divide by 8. That's going to be the key for today. Okay, doing the opposite. Remember to move what is farthest from the variable on the same side first. On the same side first. Now I'm going to tell you now, I'm not going in order today. I'm kind of jumping around to group some problems together, so stay with me. Are you ready? Okay, let's start with some easy ones. Fair enough? Let's start with number 3. Do you see how in number 3 I have 2 different variables? I have K's and J's. Does everybody see that? Which one do I want to solve for? See how it says 4K? So that K is the one I want to isolate. Can you put an arrow on it or circle it or do some things to it so you know that's the one we're trying to isolate? So what is farthest from that K on the same side? Everybody see that 5 down there? It's being divided, isn't it? So what are you going to do? Multiply it. When I do that, those cancel. What is left on the left? Now, am I allowed to multiply 11J and 5 together? Yes, you're allowed to multiply anything you want together. When we distribute, we just distribute, don't we? That's multiplication? Okay, so what is 11J times 5? Now, I'm still trying to isolate this K. Plus 1? Plus 2. Does everybody understand why Savannah did not make that 57J? This is now adding, isn't it, folks? Yeah, you can multiply and divide anything you want, but if you want to add and subtract, they have to be the same. Lucas, did you have a question or are you okay? Yep, correct. It would have to be a 2J for you to put them together. Did we isolate the K? Then we're done. The K is by itself. We're all done. That's it. Is that all right for everybody? Okay, let's try another one like that. Let's try number 7. I'm on the back now for number 7. You see that I have K's, M's, and N's in that problem, right? Which one do I want to isolate? The K, which is right there. What is farthest away from that K on the same side? That -7 is being divided. Everybody see that big old division bar? So what are you going to do? Multiply by -7. They will cancel on the left. What is left on the left? Nope, on the left. K plus M? Does everybody understand where that K plus M is coming from? Can I multiply the N and the -7? Yes, which gives you what? Okay, I'm still trying to isolate this K. How do I get that k all by itself now? Minus the m. So I have k equals. Now here's where I want you to pay attention if you haven't been yet. Am I allowed to put these two together? No. There's two ways you can write them. They're both right. You can either tell me negative 7n minus m, or you can tell me negative m minus 7n. They both mean the same thing. They're just in a different order. They're both negative, and that's okay. Would I mark one of these wrong? No. I'll tell you that this one is more proper because we want things to be in alphabetical order typically. But this one is still correct. I'll still take this one. It's still totally right. Okay. How we doing, folks? Fine? You're positive. Okay. Let's go back to the beginning then, to number 1. Okay. Which variable am I supposed to be isolating in number 1? The m. What do I need to get rid of first? What's farthest from the m on the same side? You guys see how that's all bunched together, right? So how do I move it over? I'm going to add it. I'm going to get rid of it by adding it. What is left on the left? 4m. Can I put the 8 and the plus 3n together? Like side by side. Does it matter if I do 3n plus 8 or 8 plus 3n? It does not. It is proper to put the variable term first. So that's what I'm going to do. Now I'm still trying to isolate for this m. What do I need to get rid of next? The 4. And how do I do that? Now, folks, the whole thing needs divided by 4. Hold on one second. How we doing, guys? I'm going to show you 3 ways to write this. Are you ready? This 4, actually, I'm going to show you 4 ways how to write it. This 4 has to divide both of these, doesn't it? Does 3 divide by 4? No. So you could say 3/4 n. What is 8 divided by 4? 2. Does everybody see how this 3 does not divide by 4, so I can just leave it as 3/4? Folks, what's 3/4 as a decimal? You also could write it like that. Yes, absolutely. You could write it like this. Or you could say, you know what? I don't really need to change it from the way it was. I can leave it as the big fraction as well. So this is an acceptable answer. This is an acceptable answer. And this is an acceptable answer. Or you could have the 8 and the 3n switched. And that's also acceptable. How we doing with that? Is that okay? These 3 things all mean the same thing. They just look a little bit different. All right, let's try number 2. What am I supposed to be isolating in number 2? What do I need to get rid of? How? So I'm going to get rid of the 6p by subtracting it. Folks, be careful with the subtraction. You can either say 15 minus 6p is equal to 3n, or you can tell me negative 6p plus 15 is equal to 3n. Do you see how the 15 stays positive and the 6 is negative in both of those? Some of you guys are zoning out on me. Get with me here. Is this okay? I'm going to stick with the bottom one because I told you it's proper to put the variable term first, right? Okay. Now I'm still trying to isolate this n. What do I need to get rid of? Divide everything by 3. And lucky for us, 6 and 15 both divide by 3, don't they? What is negative 6 divided by 3? And those are p's, right? And it's negative. What is 15 divided by 3? So really, in this case, you only really have 2 acceptable answers because this does divide nicely. I like it when they do this. Oh, you only need to write 1, but I would take either of them. Well, no, because you can actually divide them. Like, the only reason I was allowed to leave this one as a big fraction, then you can leave it. Correct.
But if they don't divide good, do you just, like a 3n divided by 4, would it be 3 over 4 divided by n? Or 3 over 4n, that's how it would work?
Yep. If it doesn't divide, you just leave it as a fraction that you see there, basically. Yep. Going okay? You sure? Okay. Let's go to number 4 then. Number 4. What am I trying to isolate, number 4? Okay, what do I need to get rid of? By subtracting it. So I have 5b is equal to, now the proper way to do this is put the c first, right? And the c is negative. So it'll be negative 12c plus the 9. Could you have it the opposite way? Yes, as long as the 9 is positive and the 12 is negative. Still trying to isolate that b, folks. Divide by 5. Question. Do 12 and 9 divide by 5? No, so you can just leave this as a big old fraction. Or you can split it into 2 mini fractions, which is what, Tyler, you were talking to me about just a minute ago. Either answer is good. Now, could you do decimals? Sure, somebody do 12 divided by 5 for me. What does that give you? Say it again. So negative 2.4c. And then what's 9 divided by 5? This would be fine as well. Do you guys like it when I give you options like that, or you just rather
I like it when they give us
options? Okay, good. Not too bad. How we doing here, guys? Okay, I want you to do the first starred problem at the bottom back of your paper. The first starred problem. You're trying to isolate the x. What are you getting rid of first? I hope you're adding the 4y over, and I hope you're not combining that with the 9 that's already over there. How's the first step, folks? Could you have these flip-flopped? Yes, you could. Now what do I need to get rid of? Divide. Oh my goodness. Dividing by it. So x is equal to, could I leave it as this big old fraction? Yes, I can. Okay, but what is 4 over 2? 2. So don't leave it as 4 over 2 because that divides nice into 2y. Plus 9 over 2. Does anybody have anything else? Yeah, 9 divided by 2 is 4.5. So I could have this as well. How we doing, guys? Doing okay? Okay. Let's go back and let's do number 6, please. Number 6. What am I trying to isolate? The g, and there it is. So what do I need to get rid of? Minus a 2h, but folks, there's h's over there already, isn't there? So those h's go with the other h's. So I have 5h plus f is equal to g. Is the g isolated? Great, we're done. Only took one step. Could you have it as f plus 5h is equal to g? Absolutely. Giving you options. Okay. So then I want you to try double star. At the bottom, I want you to try that double starred problem. We're trying to isolate the r. Got it? It was just one step, right? What was that one step? No, what'd you do? Tell me what you did. And you got how many? Yeah, easy enough, right? Pretty good? Or it could be the other way around. 2 plus 16p is equal to r. Okay, so now that we're good with that, let's go back. And I want to do number 9. Number 9. What am I supposed to be solving for? A. Ooh. There's 2 of them, right? And in fact, they're a squareds. So what do you think I probably need to do first? I wouldn't do that first. Eventually, we're going to do that, though, Dalton. Yeah, let's get the a squareds together. Let's get those a squareds together. How many a squareds do I now have? Plus c is equal to, guys, what's left over there on the right? 0. There's nothing over there. Now I'm still trying to isolate the a. So what do I have to get rid of next? The c? How do I get rid of that c? You're going to subtract it. So I have 13a squared is equal to, guys, what's 0 minus c? Negative c. Okay, I'm still trying to isolate the a. Divide by what? The 13, you're right. Do you guys see how the squared is right on that a? So we're going to get rid of the 13 first. Now I'm going to show you a couple ways to write this. You can leave it as negative c over 13. You also could say negative 1/13 c. Everybody agree that there's a 1 in front of the c? So you see why it would also be negative 1/13 c? I'm just going to leave it like this, I think. Now, the a is not yet isolated. How do I get that squared off of there? You're going to square root it. Folks, the opposite of squaring something is square rooting it. So we're going to take both sides and we're going to square root it. That will cancel the squared. And I have a is equal to the square root of negative c over 13. Please notice that that square root is over the entire thing. It's not just on top. It's not just on bottom. It's over the whole fraction. Is that okay? All right. So then you probably could guess that I'm going to do number 11 next. I'm solving for m. If I want to solve for m, what am I going to get rid of first? By doing what? Yup. Can I multiply e and g? EG. Now you guys see how that E is a capital E? You need to keep it a capital E. This is actually a science formula involving energy. And that E stands for energy. And then I have an m squared over here. Again, I'm trying to isolate the m, so how do I get rid of the squared? Square root it, which will cancel the squared, and I have the square root of EG is equal to m. Pretty good? Yeah. That's like how plus 4 minus 4 cancels, right? Square, square root, cancel. Yep. Okay, so now I want you to do the triple star problem at the bottom. The very last one. Looks very similar to what we just did. Trying to get the C by itself. What's the first thing you're eliminating? The M by doing what? Dividing. So many people think you should subtract this M. Is this M being added? No, it's being multiplied, so you have to divide. You always have to do the opposite of what you see. Am I allowed to say E divided by M? Yep. Now, how do I isolate the C? Square root it. Make sure that square root is over the whole thing. Make sure it's not just a little itty bitty one that's just over the numerator. It's got to be over the whole thing. I only have a couple more left, don't I? Yeah. I still have 5 left. Well, we're not doing that one. Number 12. We're not doing that one. No. Just 5 and 10? 5, 8, and 10? Okay, let's go to 10. Let's go to 10. I want to isolate the H. How or what do I need to get rid of? The pi needs to go, and the r squared needs to go. Aren't those all clumped together by multiplying? So I can just chop a piece of this piece right here that I want to get rid of by doing what? Dividing. They're all being separate the part that you don't want by dividing. How we doing with that, folks? So what's on the then? Everybody good with v over pi r squared? You see where that comes from or no? Yeah? Is equal to h. Again, that v is capital. Needs to stay capital. Anybody want to take a guess what the v stands for? What is it? Volume. Volume. Pi is pi, r is, h is height. Yep. This is for the volume. What is that the volume of? Volume of a cylinder. You guys all know what a cylinder is, right? Like a can. Okay. Let's go back to number 5. Looks pretty similar, doesn't it? Everything is all smushed together. Okay, so in number 5, I'm trying to isolate this h. What do I need to get rid of? I'm going to chop it off by dividing. That's all multiplication. Now, folks, that looks silly because I have this fraction inside of that fraction, don't I? You can't leave it like that. You can't have decimals and fractions either. I will ask you, what is the coefficient in front of this a? A 1. So I need you to take 1 and divide it by a half. That's a b. That's a b. 1 divided by a half. 2a. And we still have the b down there, don't we? Okay. Do you all see where that came from? Okay, you agree there's a 1 in front of this a? So we're going to do 1 divided by 1/2. And if you do that in your calculator, you should get 2. Good? Okay. And the h is isolated, so that'd be it. Which leaves me with number 8. I am trying to isolate the x. First step's pretty easy. What are you getting rid of first? How? Subtracting it. So I have y minus v is equal to 3/4 x. Could you Could you write it like this? Is that the same? Folks, this is not the same. The y is supposed to be positive, isn't it? And the v is supposed to be negative, right? Not the same. What if I do this? Is that correct? That's good now. But I'm just going to go back to that one. All right, what do I have to get rid of now to isolate that x? The 3/4. How do I get rid of that 3/4? Divide by 3/4. Folks, that looks even worse than the last one, doesn't it? You see how this fraction is inside of that fraction? Yes? Okay, well, I need you to understand how fractions work. I'm going to say this now, and I'm going to say it lots of times, I bet, for the rest of the year. If I divide by a fraction, everybody listening? It's the same as multiplying by the reciprocal. What is a reciprocal? Turn it around. So if I flip and make 3/4 the reciprocal, what is it? It's 4/3. And I said to multiply by the reciprocal, right? So I'm going to multiply by that reciprocal. Everybody understand? Yes? Now, I get asked a lot, do I need to distribute the 4/3 y to the y and to the v? You don't have to. Either of these answers are good. Okay, but you can't leave it like this with that fraction inside of that other fraction. Oh, I flipped that one over, didn't I? Nobody caught me on this? Is that supposed to be 3/4? What's it supposed to be? 4/3. Questions? No? Okay. Homework. Binder check tomorrow. Make sure you bring your Chromebook charged, please. And we'll be good.